Welcome everyone to our Jump In series once again. I hope you enjoyed the first one. It's called Homesick. God is longing for a group of people, His house, a place where He can manifest His presence and we can enjoy His presence. God is longing for you to hang out with Him, and He wants to hang out with you. The scriptures that we read last week from the book of Acts chapter 15 and verse 16 and 17. I'll read that in a while. Let me first of all read from the book of Amos, which is in the Old Testament, a minor prophet. And in Amos chapter 9, verse 11 and 12. But we'll just read verse 11. It's again the prophesying of the temple or the tabernacle of David. On that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David, which has fallen down, and repair its damages. God wants to repair the damages of David. It's more than just the physical damages. I will raise up its ruins and rebuild it as in the former days. So God's so in love with the house of David, the tabernacle of David. And then we also read in Acts chapter 15, verse 16. After this I will return, and I will rebuild the tabernacle of David, which has fallen down. I will rebuild its ruins, and I will set it up again. This is what God's prophecy is. He wants to rebuild the tabernacle. In other words, the essence of King David, the way that he worshiped God. Now this is in the New Testament, so that the rest of mankind may seek the Lord, and all the Gentiles who are called by my name. If you look right now, why didn't God want to rebuild Moses' tabernacle? Now, there's nothing wrong with Moses' tabernacle, but God fell in love with David's tabernacle. And what happened there? And so why didn't God want to rebuild Moses' tabernacle? I want you to take a look at a picture. This is a rough sketch of Moses' tabernacle. There's the outer court, and there's a brazen altar. And then you go into the holies, and then later on into the Holy of Holies. That was the tabernacle of Moses, which was designed by God, the first heavenly dwelling place on earth, in a tent with God. And all around the tabernacle of Moses, you see all those tents that are pitched around. All the children of Israel would watch the priests, go into the Holy of Holies. They would bring their sacrifices and all the activity that went on. It was all designed by God, but God somehow in the last days didn't say, I want to rebuild Moses' tabernacle. Now I want you to look at the next picture. This is Solomon's temple. It was beautiful, it was built to perfection, and there again you can see the outer court, the brazen altar, and then going through the curtains, and then all the other activities that the high priests, the Levites would perform again. But God somehow had the most precious memories in no other house but David's. David's tabernacle was less structure and more event and experience. You know the difference between a house and a home? You can have a beautiful house, and you can have a very ordinary house, but it's your home. It's the experiences, the memories. So if David's passion was to worship God, that's David's heart. If that can be restored in the last days, that is happening right now all around the world. People are praying like they've never prayed before, establishing worship services after worship services. Moses' tabernacle was the original recipe. It was the beginning. On the other hand, many of us don't want to just go into a tent. We would prefer Solomon's multi-billion-dollar temple. His was spectacular, royal splendor, in honor of God. It was not bad. It was great. But somehow, God preferred David's makeshift tent compared to Solomon or Moses' tabernacle. His was just a tent to shield the ark from the sun and the elements. And God said, in the last days when I am coming back, I want the passion of David. That kind of passion. not to try to replicate a building and call it David's Tabernacle, or try to be Jewish in our worship or any of that. There's nothing wrong if you want to do that, but God is looking for a passionate group of people. He said, God says, I know David's tabernacle was made of hands, and men's hands grow weak and weary. So I'm going to rebuild David's tabernacle. I'm going to start a process in the last days before I come back. The best of our efforts, no matter how good our efforts might be, they are dismal compared to what God can expect from man. We are human. God takes great delight in our love for Him. If given a choice, God would prefer passion to a palace. He prefers a passionate people. If you recall, David was ready to build a beautiful tabernacle. He got the piece of land, he got the money, he got the resources. All the people were willing to help him build it. But God said, not you, David. We'll let your son build it, Solomon. And when Solomon built it, God said these words to Solomon. You don't find God saying these words to David when he had his tent and he was worshiping, dancing around, praising God. But when Solomon built the temple, this is what God said in 1 Kings 9, verse 6 to 8. Now, if you turn aside from following me, you or your children, and do not keep my commandments and my statutes that I have set before you, and go and serve other gods and worship them, then I will cut off Israel from the land which I have given them, and the house which I have consecrated for my name. I will cast you out of my sight, and Israel will be a proverb and a byword among all the people. And this house shall be a heap of ruins. Anyone passing by will be astonished and will hiss, and they will say, why has the Lord done this to this land and to this house? Such harsh words. God warned Solomon. But you never find God speaking those words about David's tent because of the passion in the heart of David and the people that worship God. Even Jesus said in Luke chapter 21, verse 6, he's talked about Herod's temple. Herod tried to rebuild Solomon's temple. And Jesus said, when he turned back and looked at that temple, and the disciples says, what a magnificent temple it was. Jesus said, not one stone will be left on one another. So God wants to encounter real people. You are real people. He wants to encounter you. Would you let him? Would you let him encounter you when you come to church, when we meet online? He prefers to encounter men and women, ordinary people like us. The most powerful component of David's tabernacle was long before he even put up that tent and put the ark down, was his heart. As a young shepherd boy, he always loved to be in the presence of God. You read the Psalms and you read the wonderful words, not just when he was king of Israel, but when he was a common shepherd boy learning how to commune and worship God. The full bloom of his campaign in returning the ark to Israel was the thing that he wanted to demonstrate his love for God. His passion for God attracted God. I believe that if we are passionate for God, we will attract God. Reminds me of an old movie. It's called Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner in 1989. Kevin Costner played the character Jay Kinsella, and he built a baseball field in the middle of his cornfield. He was a big fan of Shoeless Jackson and other fans in the baseball era who passed away. Shoeless Jackson said to him, if you build, they will come. So the story goes to tell us how Kevin Costner built a field of dreams. And when he built it, all the great players showed up. Even his dad, whom he had a bad relationship with, showed up. And with tears in his eyes, Kevin Costner, who acted as Jay Kinsella, said, Dad, can we have a catch? Can we play ball? Now, I believe with all my heart, in these last days, oh dear brothers and sisters, that we will be able to build the tabernacle of David, not a physical structure, not a building, that we will all be passionate people moving towards 2022, a passionate group of people who worship and praise God. Get ready to discuss with one another in your groups, and I trust that we will stir the passion, stir up the fire within each other. Stir it up, it's gone cold. Let's become a people of passion to worship God. God bless you, and carry on with your studies in this word. Thank you.